So we're live. I'm what you need. You're watching my channel. We're going to talk some boxing. I hope everybody's doing well. This is the 10th of the middle of the year, June 2020. What a year that's been. And we're going to talk a little bit about boxing and some of the current events that are happening in boxing. There's a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. Remember, this channel, the key engine that drives this channel is your questions. So feel free to ask questions. And if you have not been able to go through this live session, which is a live stream, that's okay. You can always run it back and see what the contents are. This live stream is not going to be very long. So let's get into it one time. Anytime you guys pop in with a question, I will get myself to answer your questions. I'll try to go through your questions as quickly as possible. Let's get into it. So Tyson Fury, big topic. Tyson Fury has announced a 2-fight deal with Anthony Joshua. He just has to get past Deontay Wilder. That's big. That's huge. That's huge. That's big. That's big. That's huge. Of course, if Tyson Fury loses Deontay Wilder, probably they will do another rematch, and then he'll go into the Anthony Joshua fights. But this is big. Of course, Dillian White is supposed to be a mandatory for the WBC title next year, so I don't know how that's going to fit into the equation. But there's a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. So Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, that's going to be an interesting fight. Deontay Wilder obviously putting some more people into his camp to try and update him, upgrade him, get him into the sort of mindset and shape that he needs to be in to face Tyson Fury the third time. So hopefully he makes the right changes and we get an even more exciting fight, a more competitive, exciting fight. But the good news is, you fans were pressing for Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. It looks like you might get it if Tyson Fury gets past Deontay Wilder, which I think he should be able to do, but you just never know in boxing. He's pretty much won the last 2 fights that they had. So this third one, he should be able to do it. Of course, I'm so happy for Tyson Fury that he's getting these deals worked out, because I know he's got these depression issues. And I just try to encourage him when I saw that. Of course, it was put up, I think, on Fight Height and Fight Hub TV and at least like News and all the other new media outlets. But to be honest with you, I just think that this man has a lot to give. I love his personality. I love his showmanship. I love his style. And then he's a big, tall dude. He can box really well on the inside and the outside. You know, I really appreciate what he brings to the table for the sport of boxing. And, you know, I just want to see him do very well. Of course, I like all the heavyweights. I like Anthony Joshua. I like Deontay Wilder. I like Tyson Fury. Really got nothing against them. But as it is, there must be one who comes out the victor. And it looks like Tyson Fury should be able to take both those belts. I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know. I was a skeptic when he was facing Klitschko, but then I became a believer. And now I know this guy, he stuns everybody every single time. Don't count him out. You know, Tyson Fury, man, he's the dude. He's the dude. So we'll see how it goes out with these heavyweights and how it pans out. There have been some surprises along the way. One of the surprises was Anthony Joshua getting upset by Andy Ruiz. Came back in true style like a Lennox Lewis, and he got back his belt. And now we have Deontay Wilder, who has been upset by Tyson Fury. Okay. Nobody ever thought Tyson Fury would knock out Deontay Wilder. So you see, this is how boxing goes. Let's get into the next topic that we want to talk about, which is Shukur Stevenson. Just yesterday night, defeated his opponent. Now, I don't know too much about the opponent. I haven't seen the whole fight. I just saw highlights of the fight. But kudos to Shukur Stevenson. He's building his game. He's now working on his inside game, according to Andre SOG Ward, who is an all-time great, who is a Hall of Famer, who doesn't get enough credit and he doesn't get enough praise. And I made that comment on the video. I don't know which related media outlets put out the video, but I made that comment on the video because I just truly believe that Andre Ward is so much better a fighter than a lot of fighters, a lot of legends that you guys hold on to. And I think the nostalgia of past legends is the problem that keep people from really seeing how much boxing has evolved and how much these fighters have become better. They really have become better. They've broken more milestones than the past greats. And it's really sad because when people hold on to the past, they cannot see the future. Okay? And I was having a number of discussions with different people on YouTube and on Facebook, in the Facebook boxing groups and forums. And I realized that people just can't let go of the past. Because when you go and you give them fact after fact after fact after fact, reason after reason after reason after reason, they come up with the same shit. Power, can take a punch, is a true fighter. You get that same they just repeat it over and over again. I say, well, if it's just power, then the guy's only got a puncher's chance. He got to have something else in this game. No, they don't. They don't really, they never respond. It's just like their minds are programmed one way, They can't break it down in a better way. Here's what it is. So going back to what I was saying. So it's unfortunate. And I'm so proud of Andre Ward, Roy Jones Jr., and Floyd Mayweather, because they're pushing these fighters to become greater than them, become better than them. And that's what we need to do with the next generation of fighters. You never hear me knocking no next generation of fighters. Y'all knock the next gen. I just heard recently, who was it? Teddy Atlas. Shukur Stevenson just beat a guy coming out of a quarantine. Okay? He just came out of a quarantine. Okay? Teddy Atlas has the audacity to compare boxing to UFC. And then saying, wakes me up when boxing starts back. As if to say that the fights that were put on by Top Rank, Shukur Stevenson, and the other guys who got, all of them got knockouts now. They always say, oh, boxing's boring. They don't get knockouts. They all got knockouts. Teddy Atlas is knocking the opponents of these guys, who these guys are coming out of a quarantine, Teddy Atlas, out of a quarantine. So I looked at it and I was like, man, what is wrong with these boxing players? Why do we down on sport? Why do we always continuously down on sport? This is something we should be proud about. Why are we lashing it? We're not lashing Top Rank. We're not lashing ESPN. We're lashing the sport when we do that. We're making people say, oh, this is why I don't want to see boxing. Because somebody in a position of influence must say something negative about the sport. Then you say you love the sport. You don't love the sport if you're doing that to it, Teddy Atlas. You don't love the sport. Okay? So many people are fighting so hard for the sport. I see, so unlike Andre Ward, who's praising up this young fighter, saying he wants to see him get better than Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather's name has always been used. You know that. Did that thing come back? So we came back, that's good. We back. Oh yeah, we back. Okay. Yeah, peoples, what happened was that the internet went, so I wasn't able to talk with you guys, but I'm back again. All right, so let me just get through this really quickly. I got to put some food on the stove, make sure I get some food to eat. So I'm going to be in and out. But here's the thing, right? So I was saying that Mayweather's name is always in the public, but forget that. Andre Ward was saying something that was very true. Black fighters just don't get a fair shake, okay? Now, he kind of, in a sly way, he was throwing shots at Floyd, which is not cool. But what I would say is that guys like Andre Ward, man, this man should be in the top 10 pound for pound fighters of all time. Top 10 pound for pound fighters of all time. You look at me like, what? Because let me tell you let me tell you the history of this guy. This guy come from the murderer's row. We're talking Ezra Charles knowledge. We're talking Charlie Burley knowledge. We're talking Archie Moore knowledge. We're talking Booker's knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? Coco Kid knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? Murderer's row. This is what this man come from, all of that kind of stuff. He come from that stock. There's a reason why Andre Ward don't lose fights like that. Right? Man come from Floyd. Good job. Make good job. Good job. Good number, Joe. Yeah. Left. Cool. On this side right here. How's the climb doing? Doing all right. A little 2020, not whatever. Good. Okay, we're back. We're back. So those of you who's checking out everything, we'll get back to what we were saying. So yes, Andrew Ward, creme de la creme. I think he's pound for pound top 10 of all time. I'll tell you why. Because a lot of people again don't understand that boxing as a sport has evolved and it's changed and changed and changed over time. Yeah, there were guys that fought like 200 and 300 fights and 100 and something fights. True. But the caliber of opposition back to back to back to back to back to back to back, okay, wasn't always of a high standard. Now, different era, different times. Really, effectively, what we look at is throughout their entire career, who they fought, who they beat. I understand. This is what I will say, because there's a lot of things to say about this, but I'm going to put it into perspective. In that time, in that era, there were some key guys. Now, if you go rolling through our time, if you run through 100 years, obviously boxing is a lot more evolved than it has been before, okay? So you don't want to take somebody from 100 years ago and be like, yeah, man, this guy from 100 years ago, given all circumstances and things with modern day time, man, he would beat the guy of today. Now, there are a lot of guys that think so, nostalgics. They crazy, right? But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But the accomplishments that the guys do within that time. Now, why I say Andre Ward should be top 10 pound for pound, because boxing has evolved so much. Because the athletes are so athletically tuned. There's a lot of science in it and all of this stuff. Because guys have been able to look at all these past greats and all the knowledge of these past greats and techniques and skills and refine them and hone them and all of that. Because of all of that, I got Andre Ward in the top 10 pound for pound fighters of all time. Definitely. Hands down. Hands down. And y'all could call names and all that and talk about all the accomplishments the guys done in the past. Listen, Andre Ward beats them. If you're talking about light heavyweight, he beats them. And I know y'all gonna say, well, Muhammad Qali, and we got we had Evander Holyfield at light heavyweight. We had Michael Spinks at light heavyweight. Oh, no, Evander Holyfield, I think, was cruiserweight, right? Anyway, Michael Spinks at light heavyweight, and Archie Moore light heavyweight, and Ezra Charles light heavyweight. He'll beat them guys, and I'll be like, hell yeah, he would find a way to beat them. He would find a way to beat them. He would. And I know Ezra Charles could use his jab very, very well, kind of like Carlos Monzon. These guys knew how to find their range and really knew how to time guys. And they changed up their jab so many ways in the terms of the length of the jab, the speed of the jab. I know all of that. But at the end of the day, he's beating them. Andre Ward's beating them. He gonna be in the top 10. Hold on a second, I just gotta deal with something in the kitchen. Bro. It's rolling out. All right, let's keep on talking. Keep on talking. Trucking. Cable on the kite. Yeah. So let's talk. Let's talk some boxing because I've been out. Y'all was probably watching Chairs and stuff. All right, this is saffron. Saffron. This is what this is. It's root. You should eat some of that, man. It's good for you. All right, people. So I'm getting back to what we were talking about. So yeah, Andrew Ward, man, should be top 10 pound for pound. Period. He was talking about Shukur Stevenson, the potential of Shukur Stevenson to be an all-time great, surpass Floyd Mayweather. Of course, everybody want to talk about Shukur Stevenson, the next Mayweather. And you know what's the funny thing? Let's make this abundantly clear. Because people like to talk about the next Mayweather and all this kind of crap. Why are y'all talking about the next Mayweather? Why would you want to have the next Mayweather? It wasn't it Larry Merchant and Jim Lampley saying they're glad that Floyd left the sport. Now, why are you using his name then? You know, these are the things I never quite understood. And that's how I know this hate towards Floyd Mayweather. And some of what Andrew Ward said about black fighters is true. It's just that it also encompasses Floyd Mayweather. All right. So let me get into it. I'll get on into it. But first of all, there is no next Mayweather. There's only one Mayweather. There's no other Pernell Whitakers. Anybody saying the next Pernell Whitaker? There are no other Pernell Whitakers. There's only one Pernell Whitaker. By the way, Pernell Whitaker should be way up on the pound for pound list. It should be somewhere top 5. Okay, Pernell Whitaker should be top 5 in any pound for pound list of all time. Top 5. Okay? Such a difficult style and unique. Ain't nobody else have Pernell Whitaker style. You're never gonna see it. One of a kind. All right, there's only one Pernell Whitaker. There's only one Floyd Mayweather. So, guys, stop saying that who's the next Floyd. There is no other Floyd Mayweathers. But what you can have is the first Shukur Stevenson. What you can have is the first Devin Haney, the Dream. What you can have is the first Gervonta Davis. What you can have is the first Teofimo Lopez. What you can have is the first Ryan Garcia. There are no more Canelos. There are no more Canelos. There's only one Canelo. Okay? So I just wanted to say that. Andrew Ward, man. I mean, I can't even start to describe how good this guy was. Really, really good. And you know what made it? You know what made these guys good? They perfected what they did. They were not satisfied with how they were. And these were guys that trained year round, perfecting their craft. I can't say it enough. This is why I appreciate these guys. Okay? It's like you look at the perfection of the execution of the check hook by Floyd Mayweather. You look at the perfection of the execution of Andre Ward's jab. Not just a jab to hit you or to keep you at bay, but a jab that was used in transition from outside and outboxing to inboxing. And I know a lot of infighters use the jab to get on the inside, but the way how he did it varied. Y'all need to go study Andrew Ward's jab. But forget his jab for a minute. And he would hook off the jab. He do everything off the jab, right? If you took away Andrew Ward's jab, what does Andrew Ward do? What does Andrew Ward do? If you're an outboxer, he's going to start doing the dip and slip. All right? Stick his head inside there, and he's keeping at the edge of your jab to get under it and then speed off onto the inside. He's not so much slip, but kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a bob and weave. He just got speeds to the inside. All right? Always working the shoulders. Always working the blades. Hopkins. Ward. Mayweather. Pernell had a different way of doing it, but always working them blades. Always checking the opponent's blades. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Floyd did it with Devin Haney. He made Devin Haney touch the blades, touch the shoulders. You know what that's for? That's to control your opponent. You control range. It's a stiff arm touch. See, these kinds of things. That's what I'm talking about. This is real boxing I'm talking to you guys. Real boxing. I'm telling you about the real thing. This is what the sport's about. Real boxing. I'm not trying to, we ain't on bullshit. We talking real boxing. And you don't understand this, and you don't know what I'm talking about, then why the hell should I be talking about anything? Because this is the stuff that actually, this is the stuff. Listen, this is the stuff. And why Mayweather would deal with all these different styles and control them, and the fights wouldn't be like how they usually are. Because Andre Ward and Mayweather, even Bernard Hopkins to some degree, would make fights into their kind of fight and take the air out of the opponent and all the combinations, all the stuff that they were doing, it would take it out. So that at the end of the fight, people are saying our opponent was trash. Look how Ward dominated him. But who else is dominating the opponent? Who else is dominating Manny Pacquiao? Jeff Horn. It was still an exciting fight, and Pacquiao hurt Horn real bad in the ninth round. It was an exciting fight. Who else has dominated Manny Pacquiao like Floyd Mayweather has done? Nobody. He beat the crap out of Keith Thurman. Beat the crap out of Lucas Matisse, made him, stopped him. Beat the crap out of Adrian Broner. All these guys thought they could do it. Jesse Vargas, Timothy Bradley, Chris Algieri. These are all young guys in their primes. In their primes. He ain't beating these guys. Then they got the audacity to say Pacquiao not in his prime. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It don't make no damn sense. Y'all contradicting yourselves. Because he's not in his prime, but he's beating people in their primes. We're talking about Hall of Famers he's beating in their primes. And potential Hall of Famers. These aren't just good fighters. These are great fighters he's beating in their primes. And making them retire from the sport of boxing, like Timothy Bradley. Timothy Bradley was like, man, at the third time, it's like, time to leave. Water break. Clock saying 35 minutes, but I only spent about 10, 15 minutes, unfortunately. The time just kept on going. So Andre Ward, man, hell of a fighter. And he's mentoring Shukur Stevenson. So you know Shukur Stevenson's going to be greater than Andre Ward. And hopefully he can be greater than Floyd Mayweather. It depends on his resume, his fighting style, etc. They compare him to Floyd. He's not Floyd. Pretty boy Floyd wasn't fighting like that. He wasn't fighting like that when he came into the ring. Very aggressive fighter. Okay, Shukur Stevenson's on the back foot most of the time. So don't compare him to Floyd. Just don't do it. And I'm not saying that Floyd's better than him. Hell no. Shukur Stevenson's younger than Floyd. He's like, 21 now? Youngest reigning champion, etc. He's done some crazy things already. And this kid is coming from a different angle. Very composed, southpaw. Taking his time, doing his thing. And he's got a lot of maturity for his age. So, may not be as skilled as Floyd, but he's building up his skill set to be as good as Floyd by the time his career is over, or better. Develop them, move them along, carefully, working them along. That's what's happening. Andre Ward's doing it in the pattern that he was trained and raised in. Shukur got a great mentor. Got a great team. So, he should do well. He should do very well. But Larry Merchant and to a lesser extent, Jim Lampley, have done a lot of harm to black fighters. And they started off praising Muhammad Ali and stuff, and then he started tearing into Mike Tyson. He tore into Roy Jones Jr. He never tore into Sugar Ray Leonard. He never tore into Shane Mosley, because those guys was what we call good niggers. All right, they stay within the boundaries of what a good nigger is. To this day, Sugar Ray Leonard is a good nigger. That's why a lot of them don't say bad about him. Yet, they was rooting for him to fail against Duran. I'm just saying. Okay, they used Oscar de la Hoya. They modeled Oscar de la Hoya off of Sugar Ray Leonard. So anyway. So, Shakur Stevenson can be every bit as great. And I'm glad that Andrew Ward is pushing him to be as great as possible. And, Floyd's, of course, trying to get Devin Haney as great as possible. Surpass his records if possible. It's going to be damn hard to do, but you never know. How long Devin Haney stays in the sport of boxing will determine how many records he can break and how much he can do. Okay, but he's world champion early. Shakur Stevenson is a world champion early. Ryan Garcia is on his way to becoming world champion. Gervonta Davis was world champion early. Now these guys Gervonta Davis need to step it up so he can get tougher fights. The boy looked like he comfortable, so I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. But if he would just stop being comfortable and just keep on pushing, who knows what would happen. But some people just don't understand. Floyd came in to be great. He came into boxing to be great. He wasn't just satisfied with a championship. We don't have that mentality all the time with these boxers, but somebody got to groom them. Somebody got to let them know, mentor them so that they could go the right way. All right? But anyway, black boxers. I'm gonna be real with you guys, because Floyd Mayweather's just done just about everything you could possibly do in the sport of boxing. He's done it all. He's made the most amount of money any athlete has ever made. Athlete. Okay? He's any athlete in sports. I mean, he's also got a resume that's just ridiculous. If you look at that resume in 50 fights, it's a ridiculous resume. It's a ridiculous resume. All right? If Floyd Mayweather was a white guy like Tyson Fury, look how everybody buzzes on Tyson Fury. Look how everybody got a buzz on Tyson Fury. What has Tyson Fury done so far? Beat Vladimir Klitschko and Deontay Wilder. That's all this motherfucker's done. And everybody's buzzing about Tyson Fury. Everybody's so hyped on Tyson Fury. He's the greatest heavyweight and blah, 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 blah. They're hyped on him. Why? I like him too. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just an unbiased guy. Tyson Fury ain't nowhere in the sphere of a Floyd Mayweather. He's not. He can do some things, and come from the same school of thought, but he's not a Floyd Mayweather. Perfect punches. Well placed, well executed. Complete balance. Proper body control. Composure. Shit, this man never got officially knocked down by a punch. And when he's gotten knocked down by a punch, he went flatline like Tyson Fury. Flat on his back. It was just, he got knocked down, kind of like a Sean Porter kind of knockdown. He got knocked back, and he put his hand on the canvas by Zab Judah. Everybody else been flatlined. Everybody else, their back hit the canvas hard. Their butt hit the canvas hard. Their face hit the canvas hard. And they got to come back. Not Floyd. And he been hit with hell of shots. The standard that Floyd has brought. Let me give you a little spiel on records. Take my time with this one, because black fighters I'm talking about. I'm gonna give you some stats. He got the highest plus-minus ratio in boxing, which means he hits, but he doesn't get hit. It's the highest. His accuracy is just a little bit less than Joe Louis's accuracy. Joe Louis has the highest amount of punches landed per punch thrown. Floyd is just a little bit below him. but his plus-minus ratio blows his Joe Louis out of the water. And the plus-minus ratio indicates being able to hit and not get hit. So somebody told me, hey man, listen, it's his opponents, the level of opposition he faced. I said, listen to this. Listen to this, ninja. He said, you know, Muhammad Ali. I said, shut up. Hold up a second. Before you go into Muhammad Ali, you got Manny Pacquiao. You got Miguel Cotto. Oscar De La Hoya, Shea Mosley. Canelo. Floyd had a higher plus-minus ratio against Pacquiao, the legendary Pacquiao. An all-time great, no doubt about it. Probably top 10, top 15, top 20, maybe top 5 greatest fighters of all time by the time his career is over. Because he on track to become the greatest fighter of all time. He just needs 3 more fights to wow us and beat our Crawford. He talking about facing Golovkin. Shit, if he would have beat Golovkin, he almost there. He's almost there. You know, this man is great. No doubt about it. Pacquiao's great. He mowed through 10 divisions, collected 6 world titles, and he had also 2 lineal titles in 2 other divisions. 8 divisional champion, not world champion, but 8 divisional champion. Man's a bad man. He's a bad boy. And Floyd minimized him to a very small output and beat him. That's volumes right there. And they feel that Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns could just do that. No. What Floyd does, Sugar Ray Leonard don't do. Floyd will pot shot you and pivot. Leonard will pot shot you and stay in the range of fire to get countered. Then he will snap back out of the range of fire. He pulled back or whatever. But he's right there in the range of fire. You shoot for the body, you're going to catch him. Shoot for the chest. Don't shoot for the the head. Shoot for the chest. You catch him. He rumbled too much. He's like Terrence Crawford. He likes to rumble. That's the problem with Shane Mosley, Oscar De La Hoya. They want to get you back immediately. Floyd play into that. Easy. He plays with that. Because he's not trying to get you back right now. Be patient. He take his time with you. So I was on a forum and somebody was saying, man, Sugar Ray Leonard would run through Oscar De La Hoya. I'm like, no, homie. That ain't happening. He not knocking out Oscar De La Hoya. Hers would knock out Oscar De La Hoya. I said, no. You're getting ahead of yourself here, Holmes. That's not happening. They'll knock out Shane Mosley. I look at them like, are you out of your mind? Ain't nobody knocked out Shane Mosley. How are you gonna? Vernon Forrest was the closest to knocking out Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley came back and fighting in that fight. Cause see, you could rock Shane Mosley. The problem with it is Shane Mosley recoups really fast. See, this is the part of boxing that these guys just don't get. Shane Mosley rocked Floyd, but Floyd recouped before the end of the round. Floyd was walking down Shane Mosley because Floyd's powers of recuperation is very quick. Yeah, you can hurt him, but he's gonna recoup. Why? He's well conditioned. Same thing with Shane Mosley. Not saying them guys ain't taking something, but I'm saying he recoups really fast. So by the time you stunned him once or twice, he's gotten used to your power. You're not facing him no more. Okay? I remember Marcus Maidana hit Floyd with a hell of a punch in the second fight. All right? Looked like he knocked the teeth out of his mouth. Okay? At the end of the round when the bell sounded. And Floyd, of course, tried to catch himself in the 4th round. By the 5th round, this motherfucker was so aggressive. Marcus Maidana is throwing a jab. He's eating that jab. He's getting hit with the jab and still walking to Marcus Maidana. He's walking through Marcus Maidana's jabs. That's some crazy ass shit. That'll scare anybody. Okay? And he was swinging hooks like if he was nuts. Marcus Maidana started withdrawing and he was getting out of the way of them hooks. And he went for a jog. He was like, this man is crazy. This motherfucker is crazy. Because they don't know that side of Floyd. He does it a lot in sparring. That side of Floyd's in sparring. But he don't do it in his fights. Not anymore. Right? sparring, there's a lot of blood that goes on in sparring, especially when Floyd was about, middle of his career. I mean, he ain't gonna knock you out, but he will make you quit. You gonna quit in that ring against him, cause he gonna beat the shit out of you, and you gonna be busted up and all bloody. So boxers don't get knocked out. He don't flatline people, so he don't just flatline people. He used to do it with Pretty Boy. He don't do it so much as Money May. But that motherfucker's fast, everything. He throws 8-punch, 9-punch combinations easy. He just don't do it in fights. Doesn't mean he can't do it. And he's a very aggressive fighter. He's still got the aggression in him. Pretty Boy Floyd's still there. But he'll show it as an intent. He won't show it in the fight. He uses it as a feint, in other words. He uses an intent. You can see he wants to come at you. But he's not going to come at you. It's feinting. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's Floyd. But he's the cornerstone of boxing. There's a reason why we call him TBE. Not the greatest. He's not the greatest. That's up to you guys. You guys can pick whoever you want. But based on facts and factual information, he is the best ever. All right, he faced quality opposition. Then another guy was telling me, I looked at Box Rack, and he always had the longer reach against guys. Okay, well, newsflash, Shane Mosley actually has a 74-inch reach. That's his real reach. He's 5'9", 74-inch reach. Some people say 5'9.5". That's really what Shane Mosley has a longer reach than Floyd. And Shane Mosley said it in HBO 24/7. I got a longer reach than Floyd. Oscar De La Hoya has a 73-inch reach, and he's 5'11". No, sorry, 5'10". Gennaro Hernandez had a 72-inch reach, 5'11". Okay? Diego Corrales was 5'10.5", and he had a 73-inch reach. These guys had longer reaches than Floyd. They were taller than Floyd, but I mean, don't mean nothing. Floyd be sparring big grown men when he was a little boy. He had a tremendous reach at disadvantage. He knew how to get on the inside. He knew how to stay on the outside and still pot shot. Still get his jab in. The Black Mamba. He used to spar the Black Mamba, his uncle. How do you do that? His uncle and his father. And whoop their ass. Well, not whoop their ass, but beat them. School them. Okay, that's Floyd. Enough of Floyd. So my point anyway is this. That if the greatest black boxer of this century, of this era, forget the century, of this era, the last 20 years, the greatest black boxer in the last 20 years gets castigated. They make fun of him. They say all kinds of negative things that are not true about him. They spread lies about him. Why are they doing that? Because they feel threatened. And they don't like him for several reasons. One of them is Floyd brought to the game trash talk from a black guy. Everybody laugh at Ricardo Mayorga's trash talk. Everybody's cool with it because he's not a threat. Floyd's a threat. He got the money. He wins all the time. He beats your favorite fighter. He's a threat. So a lot of people, King of the Hill kind of thing. People curse you out. As soon as you get knocked down, now they happy, right? So you see them, Adrian Broner, he's just a clown, but they happy. You understand what I'm saying? They're still hating on Adrian Broner, but they happy. He got beat up. He got shut up. So they were hoping that would happen to Floyd. That's why to this day, some of these clowns be saying, Marcus McDonough beat Floyd. Okay, fine enough. My point is that the guy is the greatest black fighter in the last 20 years. Right? And to hear these people try to deny him TBE with enormous amounts of facts there that show he is TBE, it's sad. Because, this is just common sense. Boxing has evolved. He's the best that's out there for the last 100 years because boxing has evolved. Why is this a problem? Why is it a problem that he's TBE? Why is it that he can't be TBE? Have you ever seen him train? Have you realized that all year round this man's in shape? This man spar all year around? Who do that? Who be sparring or fighting all year round. Who you know do that? Even the throwback fighters didn't do that. They fought all year round, but they didn't spar all year round. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If they could do that to Floyd, they could do that to Andre Ward. So they say Andre Ward boring, blah, 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 blah. Just stopped Kovalev. Oh, it was a low blow, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Continuous hate. Why they hate Andre Ward? What did Andre Ward do to them? Just hate. The black fighter beat the white fighter. Floyd beat the crap out of Gaddy. He beat him up bad. Gaddy was stumbling to his corner. Staggering to his corner. Took a beating. They didn't like that. Black man obviously beats the white man. Didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? Not any white man. The white man's white man. Real fighter, real warrior, real champion. Could take punishment, come back. No. Ward. It's all-time great. All-time great. We need to respect the fighters of the present time. And I hope the fighters of the present time don't carry on that tradition that the past fighters had of hating on the present ones. Because guilty are Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler. They're guilty. Let me tell you about it. Not so much Leonard, but Leonard too. I don't care what you say. You got to say something positive because it's the sport that you so love that you want people to have a positive impact on. But Maypac came through. Leonard said that performance was a performance of an all-time great. If you know he was going to say something negative, Leonard, about Floyd, not Pacquiao, but Floyd, who you know, he's a better fighter than you. He's better than you. All right, Leonard? He's better than you. You can go ahead and do 700 million interviews. I don't care. He's better. He's a better fighter than you. You would get your ass beat by Floyd. It's just what it is. You get beaten. All right? Thank God you never had to face him. And Pacquiao would have beat your ass too. Because you didn't face Aaron Pryor. You didn't face Aaron Pryor. Why didn't you face the Hawk? Yeah, y'all sparred together. That's sparring. Face the Hawk. You had nobody to face. You faced, what was the guy named? Bruce Finch. That's who you faced. You could have faced the Hawk. You didn't face the Hawk. So I think Pacquiao whoops your ass because he was not interested in facing the Hawk. Hesitating, trying to make the fight. Come on, man. If you want to face the Hawk, face the Hawk. Face him. But you never did. So we don't know if you could beat Pacquiao. He'd have been a southpaw Hawk. He'd have been a southpaw Hawk. I've never seen Leonard check hook, by the way. My point anyway is this. Stop bad talking the guys who are the present greats, and I will stop exposing the past greats. I'll let y'all believe your nostalgia and go into your thing. You know, yes, Thomas Hearns was one of the 100 best punches in the whole wide world. Yeah, okay, he was one of the hardest punches in the whole wide world. Y'all like the power thing, so go with it. So it don't have shit to do with boxing if you can't use it to land it on your target. So let me break down a simple basic thing about boxing as I'm on it. You find your target with your jab. Okay? If a motherfucker is countering your jab, you got no target. You can't target nothing. Hearns need the jab to get the two. He's a 1-2 kind of guy. He dropped the 1-2. That's Emmanuel Stewart's forte. He's a 1-2 kind of guy. He tell you the two after the one. So you gotta have a jab to set up the two. That's why Emmanuel Stewart, he didn't understand what the fuck Floyd was doing when he put away his jab and was boxing guys like Carlos Baldomir and that kid who was from the Dominican Republic. He didn't understand what Floyd was doing because Floyd was using feints to keep them offset your opponent. And then they come in an irregular beat or irregular rhythm, come in off the regular rhythm and left hook it, the dude. Catch him with the left hook, catch him with the right hook, go right hook to the body, left hook up top, and all that kind of stuff. They don't even understand what the fuck that is. So we'll just forget about that. But Roy Jones Jr. also did that stuff. And by the way, Roy Jones Jr. knew the fundamentals of boxing. He knew how to use his jab and stuff. He just put it away. Okay? Because he realized that most boxers fight with a certain rhythm and they're conditioned and trained in the gym towards a particular rhythm. And Roy took advantage of that situation. So where a boxer might have expected, a jab from Roy, he got instead a jab that turns into a hook, Cuban school of boxing kind of thing. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, and you saw Floyd do the same thing. Floyd was a little bit more defensively and fundamentally sound in the defense end of the spectrum, whereas Roy, he just puts two guard up, stay on the ropes or whatever. Or you control distance with the jab, or you just control distance. You just anticipate you and control distance to set up the counter and bait you and set up the counter. But basically what I'm saying is, I don't know if you guys understand anything I just said, but whatever. What basically is important here is that you understand Roy was a great fighter too. And a lot of people tear down Roy, and they think that Roy doesn't know the fundamentals of boxing. Of course Roy knows the fundamentals of boxing. But Roy chose to go the route of adding other dimensions to the boxing. Dimensions that Floyd borrowed from, and the rhythmic control Floyd borrowed from. I'm pretty sure Floyd was a big fan of Roy. In fact, there's a picture of Roy and Floyd in one of the groups, and Floyd's grinning as he's hugging Roy, and Roy's just, he's kind of mugging to the camera because Roy was the dude, and Floyd wanted to be associated with Roy. You know what I'm saying? Now, Floyd's the dude, and Roy is just associating himself with Floyd. Now, Roy says that Floyd's a great businessman, probably the smartest fighter that ever lived in boxing. He does not consider him the best of ever, but I think he's the best ever. I think when you come talking about boxing and the sweet science of boxing, he's the best ever to do it. I disagree with Roy on that one. I do believe that he also had the great business ethic and the marketing, but Roy wanted to do that same thing. Roy wanted to have the full package. He wanted to be a to be a great promoter. At the same time, he also wanted to be a great boxer. Roy said he played King of the Mountain. But all them boxers would have loved to have those paychecks that Floyd was getting. So that's just what it is. Is Roy jealous of Floyd? No. Roy don't have a jealousy bone in it. Well, he does kind of have a little ego thing that goes on. But Roy's happy for Floyd. Because Roy set that bar to get there. Whitaker also set that bar. But they didn't get a fair shake at it. They shafted them. You know what I'm saying? But Floyd somehow managed to get there where they wanted to be. But wasn't that, Roy wanted to be there. Roy wanted to get that fifth title at cruiserweight. So that's why he was hanging around boxing so long. Divisional title. Pernell Whitaker had 4 divisional titles. And Floyd was a multi-divisional champion as well. And that was because, again, Floyd was calculated just like Pernell and Roy was. Roy made a calculated decision to go to heavyweight to face John Ruiz. Came back. Yeah, people. So keeping it moving. So Boxing is coming back. Tonight there's supposed to be another set of fights. Fight again hosted by Top Rank, so I'm just very happy about that. I'll try and talk about some of the results of those fights over time. And again, feel free to ask any question. This is a live stream, so feel free to do so. So black fighters, they just don't get a fair shake. You know, they're double standards. And, you know, a lot of people trying to say that the old school way of fighting, which is what Floyd kind of represents. And just because he didn't get knockouts, they say, you know, this and that and the other about him. And Roy he wasn't facing nobody that was, you know, top tier, which is not true at all. With Andrew Ward, he was boring. Bernard Hopkins, why are you still in boxing? You know, that kind of stuff going on. Very unfair stuff. They don't celebrate the black fighter. The people who will celebrate the black fighter are black people. You know, the people all around the world that love what Floyd does, just the moves that he makes. Or Andrew Ward and just the way how he tactically approached things. Or the crafty trickiness of Bernard Hopkins. Beautiful style of Pernell Whitaker. The puzzle of Pernell Whitaker. That's what I call it. Have you going around and around in circles. Oh, I was about to step out. Yeah. Some other news in boxing. Well, we see everybody training in boxing. And that's a wonderful thing to see Ryan Garcia doing this thing, Canelo doing this thing, Devin Haney doing this thing. You know, I saw some clip hits of Teofimo Lopez doing this thing. Teofimo Lopez losing weight. Great stuff. You know, seeing the OGs doing that thing. We got Mike Tyson doing this thing. Evander Holyfield's getting into shape. Some good stuff, man. Listen to some interviews with Evander Holyfield on Mike Tyson's his talk show. And Evander talking about why he is the fighter he is today. It was very interesting. You know. So it's, you know, we got some stuff. We got some entertainment. We had some interviews with Eddie Hearn and interviews with Clarissa Shields, listening to her talk about various things, you know, going on. What you know, how she feels about this Layla Ali situation, how she feels about, you know, being the GOAT, as she calls herself. You know, we got little bits and pieces of different things, you know. And again, I'm so backing these new fighters. These fighters who are coming on the scene, these younger fighters, you know. I think that's the promise. That's the great thing about boxing, you know. Of course, it's on to the next, but in addition to that, though, you know, the perspective of a next is great. These guys don't have a whole lot of experience, so it's just great to see them maneuvering that pathway and see how their stories go. Boxing, we got a lot of potential, so we got to see who will come out ahead of the lot. Excuse me for a second. I'm just going to refill my bowl with some more food here, and then I'll come back to you guys. But it's just an interesting time. If you got any questions, man, don't forget, feel free to ask the questions right here on this chat session. Nobody's asked any questions. Oh, shoot. Some people did ask them. Oh, baby Arizmendi. Whoa. Somebody went back in time. Intangible boxing. What? You guys been asking questions. What's been going on? Okay. All right, let's go to your questions, man. I'm so sorry I didn't see your questions. All right. Intangible boxing says, Shukur isn't the next Mayweather, for sure, sir. But he's better than Tank and Ryan and Haney. I can't say that. I'm sorry, I can't say that. I won't say that. He's definitely not better than Tank right now. Skill wise, that is. And his commitment to boxing, hell yeah. He's still building himself. His game. I wouldn't say he's better than Tank, but this is what I would say. I would say these guys are right now in the mix. Let's see who will come out on top. But it's a great set of guys. I hope they face each other. Tank is at super featherweight, and what people don't know, Shukur just fought a super featherweight fight and stopped the guy. I'm like, well, let's see. So we'll see. Shukur stopping people now, and we saw some inside game from Shukur. So he's developing his game. So we'll see how it goes. That's the nice thing about having a young fighter that you can groom and kind of get him to get different aspects of his game going, So we'll see how it goes, man. But Devin Haney's a hell of a fighter. And you see, the things Devin Haney do, I never seen Shukur do. So, the things I see Gervonta do, I never see Shukur do. I think Shakur's been brought along on a really good pathway with really good people around him. So he should do very, very well. I expect him to be an all-time great. Just keep on working hard. That's the key. Haney's working hard. Haney's a lot bigger, of course. Haney's a lightweight. That could be a super lightweight. He goes super lightweight tomorrow. Ryan, he's a lightweight. Teofimo is the same thing as Devin Haney. He could be a super lightweight tomorrow. Those are two big lightweights. They're very big. They're disciplined. The reason why they can make lightweight is because they're disciplined. Shakur's disciplined. Gervonta's not as disciplined as those guys. But he's got mad skills, mad ability, but he's not as disciplined. So we're hoping that he will get that discipline because he's probably ahead of every one of them. He became the first of them to be world champion. So, we'll see how it goes with that grap. Gervonta just needs to sort himself out, keep on working, keep on training, keep on do what he do. Get more serious, take the advice that Floyd told him, and really keep the heart and just keep pushing. We saw Errol Spence, and he got interviewed, and he was talking about, he don't need no tune-up. He said, I'm a shark. Put me in deep water. Let's go. I loved it. I love what he was saying, too. Anyways, let's go back to what you guys were saying. Sorry about that. Let me keep you guys going. Just keep the comments and just keep it moving. Intangible Boxing says, Shakur Stevenson is great at basically everything, but he's so feather-fisted, but he's good. I don't know if he's feather-fisted. All right? Let me explain what I mean. See, at that weight class, sometimes at a low weight, Terrence Crawford wasn't knocking out nobody at lightweight. He wasn't stopping nobody. Until a little bit later on when he moved up to super lightweight. Right? I don't remember stopping anybody at lightweight. I think he started stopping people like Hank Lundy and these guys at super lightweight. So sometimes at featherweight, for example, it was a low weight class. So maybe he needed to move up to super featherweight, put on a little bit more size. And with that size, he'd be able to stop people. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if he's feather-fisted. I wouldn't come to that conclusion just like that. He don't have no hand problems, right? I know he went to the doctor to check his hands because it seems really grimaced, and he shook his hand, his left hand, when he hit the guy on his head. And that's another thing. Sometimes you shouldn't be hitting guys on their head just like that, Sometimes you need to go to the body. Sometimes if you hit a guy in his temple, it's a little bit different to hitting him on his forehead or some of these guys, like these Mexican fighters, they get head down like this and they're coming at you. So if you hit them on the dome up here, that's the hardest part of the head. you could break your hand on there. Tangible Boxing says, I think Shakur makes Ryan and Haney quit. Nah. Why do you? Anyway, never mind. Tangible Boxing. In my opinion, there is no most skilled fighter ever or way to determine it. No, that's too bad because that's not true. That's just not true. There are skills you learn in the gym And it's easy to see it. You just look. This guy can do this. This guy can't do that. Ain't no rocket science. Again, if you watch fights and you watch fighters and you want to emulate what they're doing, which you're not doing, obviously, then you will realize how much skill they really have. The skills, again, are not talent. They're not gifting. Okay? I hate to be repeating myself. It feels like I'm in a time warp with some people who just don't get it or something. All right? Skills are very important in boxing. Okay? And there is a way to determine if somebody has more skills than another person. Okay? And if you can't see that in the ring, then why are you watching boxing? I'm serious. Like, I don't understand. Because everything a boxer brings to the table, whether it's their jab, whether it's their movement, it's something they were taught. Okay? And they took it and made it their own in their own way. So it's very important that you have skills. Okay? I said it again. That you should be able to identify while you're watching fighters. That's what makes their style of fighting. Okay? Manny Pacquiao does his things the way he does it because he was taught a certain way of doing it. Okay? So when I say a fighter is more skilled than another fighter, this is not rocket science. It's because they can do more things in the ring than the other guy can do. That's all it means. Now, whether they have more home skills is another story. How they do it. If they do it really, really well, then they have better home skills than, say, a fighter who does not do it very, very well. It's common sense, but apparently this is lacking in boxing. So people just come up with these crazy ideas that skill is just not important in boxing, and there's no way to rate it. That's stupid. That's really stupid. That everything you're watching at is because of skill. I just don't get it. Like, do you watch boxing? I don't understand. Like some things just, they're so bugging. I can't even say the word. Mind-bogglingly stupid. I mean, like, you look at it like, how can you say that? How can you say that? Like, what is wrong with you? Don't you watch boxing? Why do you think that Naoya Inoue is so great? It's what he's doing in the ring. That's his skills. I mean, my God. So I don't understand. I don't understand where you came from with that idea that skills don't. It's almost like you're saying that skills cannot be calibrated. Therefore, skills cannot be assessed. So we have to look at something else, which is just retarded. Because the only reason you're looking at something else is because of the skills of the fighter. You have to watch the fights. You just have to. You have to. That's what it comes down to. If you could be in the fight, even better still, you can gauge a fighter by facing them. But since we would get our asses whooped by them, we have to watch the fights. It's simple. I don't understand, right? If you haven't seen Harry Crab fight, I don't want to cuss. How can you say he's your favorite fighter? That makes no sense to me. Because you have no evidence of what he actually does. What you have is hearsay. And hearsay is not great because people exaggerate shit. You have to see it with your eyes. If you haven't seen Harry Greb with your eyes, you can say this. I really like the accomplishments that this fighter has done, but I can't say I like that fighter. I can only like the fighter if I've seen him fight. Do you get what I'm saying? I like this fighter, man. He's sweet in that ring. How? Because I'm seeing him fight. I know 68 Sports TV tried to answer me on this, but you know, the idiocracy, some people, they try to show that they're great philosophers or whatever, and he's an artsy-fartsy kind of guy. So his brain went there. But it's just common sense, man. Unless you have seen the fighter fight, you cannot assess that fighter. You can't say, I like this fighter's style. I like this fighter, how he fights. You can't say you like the fighter. You know about a fighter. You don't know the fighter until you've seen them fight. This is common sense. And it goes for all time. So even the announcer who was reporting things on the radio and people listen to the radio and they would say, oh, how sweet he is. No, it's the announcer telling you how sweet he is. You have never seen him fight. Unless you're live in there watching him fight, you've never seen him fight. Okay? So I just don't get it. I just don't get it. You know, I'm being honest with you guys. I don't get it. When you say it doesn't have any, you say that you can't assess skills. I just don't understand that part. Because then how can a fighter go in the ring and face another fighter if he can't assess their skills in the ring? I just don't get it. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. Where your mind is at, how you could think that. I don't understand it. I'm being honest with you. Intangible boxing. I just don't understand it. Maybe you understand something I don't understand, but I'm confused. Okay? Why do people say those things? I don't know. You know, but hey, man, more power to you. Maybe you know something I don't know, but it confuses me to no end when people say that. I don't understand. It's the fundamentals of boxing. The fundamentals of boxing are skills. So obviously they're identifiable. And I even tell you different skills, like how you throw a jab this way and that way and this way and that way, and the different kinds of jabs, how you jab different ways and what you use them for and why you use them this way and that way. And I tell you all of these things because they're skills. You know, it's not everything. You got to have, you got to have the conditioning. You have to be well prepared to take the punches and all that stuff. You got to have the mindset to win. So even if you're a very skilled fighter, like Buster Douglas was a much more skilled fighter than Mike Tyson, right? But on that night, he was up for it because what we found out, his mother died the week. So he was motivated to dedicate this fight to his mother. Tyson wasn't as motivated, right? So he lost. But then the very next fight, Buster Douglas gets beat by Evander Holyfield. It's not that Buster Douglas didn't have the skills to do it. It's just that he wasn't up for it mentally, right? Wasn't up for it mentally. He shunned for a moment, and then that was that. He was comfortable. He was satisfied. He became world champion, heavyweight champion of the world. He was too comfortable up here. He was overweight. He didn't train properly. So he got his ass beat by Holyfield. Attitude, mindset, all of these things are important for a really great fighter who becomes the best ever. You can't be the best ever and you get beat by a guy with eight fights, 7 fights. How you best ever? There are other guys that don't get beat by that. And you might have accomplished a lot. I'm not going to discount the rest of your resume, but you can't call yourself the best ever and you're getting beat by those guys. You can't. You can't. You can call yourself the greatest if you want to. People can call you the greatest if they want to. But you can't be the best ever boxer because your career is flawed by the fact that you got beat by a guy you're not supposed to get beat by. I don't care how old you are. If you knew you couldn't beat that dude, get out the sport. What you doing facing him? Decision making. Keep it moving. You guys have some good questions though. That first comment that Intangible Boxing said is really good. Second one confuses me. Intangible Boxing says, I think Shukur makes Ryan and Haney quit. Oh, you said that already. All right. Intangible Boxing says, but the most skilled fighters for me are. He said he don't think there's any skilled fighter. Then he comes back and he tells me most skilled fighter, and then he tells me this is the most skilled fighters. Oh my God. Anyway, hey man, it's cool. But the most skilled fighters for me are Archie Moore, Ezra Charles, and Mayweather. Everybody got skills in different ways. I hit it with the mongoose. That's a good one. Ezra Charles was a motherfucking beast. Murderer's Row. Bad motherfucker. I mean, you pick some good names, but I could give you like a 50, 60 more names. Easy. 50, 60 more names. Easy. So I understand what you mean by it's hard to pick the most skilled fighter, but just do your homework. Do your homework on it. Do your homework on it. Really do your homework on it. Because there's some obscure guys that you bringing up that I like. I like how you bringing up some of those fighters that a lot of people don't know about. I used to do the segment on that. And Some of them, I just recently read about a fighter from the UK, from Ireland, had 160 fights and no losses. His entire career, he went through that. 160 fights, no losses. But for some reason, after the war, I think it was after World War II, his records got messed up. I'm still trying to find out more information about this dude. 160 fights, no loss. That's how he retired. Some crazy ass shit. I'm gonna find out more about him. You can look it up. I mean, as a child, is a fine ass. He was really good. I mean, Rocky Marciano knocked his ass out, but I mean, he was a very, very good fighter. So did Jersey Joe Walker and several other guys. But it was his heavyweight. It was heavyweight, so he really is. I think he's the greatest. I don't think Archie Moore is the greatest light heavyweight in the world. I think it was Ezra Charles. But then again, you got so many great light heavyweights. That division is like packed with history, rich with history, you know. So, I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. But at the end of the day, if you really hone in on the criteria that makes you the best ever of this division, you're going to get it. You're going to get one. But you got to do your homework. Fort Jose Basora at middleweight and Joe Louis at heavy. Was that Ezra Charles? Man, Ezra Charles fought everybody. Charlie Burley beat the Mongoose. He beat everybody. Joey Maxim. I mean, he whooped everybody ass. There was one or two guys that beat him, but shit, Ezra Charles was a bad motherfucker. From 160 all the way up till heavyweight. It's a bad boy. His jab was just ridiculous. You can just watch the footage of him. When he faced, what was it, Jimmy Bivens? I think it was. Yeah, masterclass of jab. The jab, just the way how he throws the jab. Like I said before, like Cosmo's Zone. They had that timing, you know, that rhythm. And they vary the length of the jab and all that. It's really interesting. I had a whole session, I was a whole fucking class on that shit. Like the skill that he used. Skills. You got to talk about skills. Got it. It's just what it is. He was trained really well as a Charles. But then again, he was in Murderous Rows. That's why he got a title shot where? Where did he get a title shot? Ezra Charles got a title shot, not a lightweight, not a light heavyweight, a heavyweight. That's where he finally got his title shot. It's fucked up. Charlie Burley never got a title shot in his whole entire career. Isn't that crazy? They just ducked that motherfucker like a plague. Of course, you can go up on YouTube and see him face Oakland Smith, right? And Floyd is of Charlie Burley stock. Floyd descend from a Charlie Burley stock. While Ezra Charles got knocked out, Charlie Burley never got knocked out his entire career. Another guy who never got knocked out his entire career, James Toney, all the way up to heavyweight. Never got knocked out. Never got stopped. That's real talk. Marvin Hagler never got stopped, but he left boxing. So it is what it is. And we talking about James Toney out of shape, out of his prime. You can't stop him. Intelligent Boxing says the opposition and skills are better than Mayweather. Oh, Ezra Charles? Nah. But it'd be interesting if he would have faced Floyd. Cause he knows what the hell he doing in that ring. Ezra know what he doing. But that would be interesting. But they never really would have clashed because Floyd's like tops middle. He tops out at middle, if so much. The middleweights were kind of small back then, so yeah, he had a top out at middle. Because Floyd come all the way up from featherweight. Basically, Floyd's a featherweight, lightweight featherweight. So he'd have come up in those days. The weight classes were what they were, right? It was no super whatever. So he would have come up from featherweight, or let's say lightweight. He would have come up from lightweight. He'd have moved to welterweight, and at most he'd have moved to middleweight. He'd have fought at middleweight. He might have fought at featherweight because Floyd is a little bit bigger than Henry Armstrong. A little taller than Henry Armstrong, a little bigger than Henry Armstrong. Floyd's super lightweight, right? Pacquiao, Floyd, Marquez, they're super lightweights. So, you know, Henry Armstrong was basically about the same size. Okay, I'm pushing it. He was about like a 135 pounder, so he was more lightweight. He was smaller than them naturally. He was mostly a lightweight. But Henry Armstrong, man, that bastard fought at featherweight. They would jump up to welterweight, have his fight at welterweight, come back down to either featherweight or lightweight, have a lightweight fight or something like that. It's crazy. The only thing, there's a catch-22 to that. So it sounds crazy, but a lot of the guys he fought at welterweight, he also fought at lightweight. So that's the little catch there. Fritzy Zivik was a little bit different. He was much bigger. Zivik is a big dude. He was 5'11". That's why Fritzy Zivik beat him. Or one of the reasons. I guess his style too. Tangible Boxing says, I've been commenting, bro. Man, I didn't know, man. I didn't know. I'm sorry. Tangible Boxing News says, I think Leonard and Hearns would decapitate Mayweather. Mortal Kombat style. They ain't doing shit. They ain't not knocking out him. Ain't nobody would knock out Floyd. I'm sorry. That one thing, not happening. The man come from the school of Charlie Burley, man. The man come from Andre Ward, Floyd, James Toney. You're talking Midwest guys that really know their defense shit. You're not gonna knock him out. Mike McCallum, Crunk, Jim. Come on, man. Serious? Ain't nobody knocking out Floyd. That ain't happening. Y'all call him the greatest defensive fighter of all time. Some of y'all say Willie Pep was better, and yet Willie Pep got starched by Sammy Sadler, but whatever. If you're going to be the greatest defensive fighter of all time, why the hell you getting knocked out? When Strickland, right? Reggie Strickland, I think it is. Has he ever been knocked out? I don't think Reggie Strickland's ever been knocked out. Is it Reggie Strickland? I gotta lose every single fight, but his defense be on point. He may not have offense, but he definitely has defense. Is it Reggie Strickland? I don't know if it's Reggie Strickland. I think it's some guy that I covered and boxing not talked much about. Dude had his defense on point. He may not have his offense, but he got defense. They can't stop him. They can't knock him out. And when you have defense, like, you think anybody gonna knock out Canelo? Canelo's not gonna get knocked out. I'm sorry. Those people banking on Canelo to get knocked out, y'all on a dream, wish, and a prayer. It's not happening. He has defense. Like, what's my boy's name? Troy King. Troy King will tell you guys this. Pernell Whitaker, in his very last fight, the guy hit his collarbone and broke it, and that's why he was stopped. He wasn't stopped, but they had to stop the fight, right? But Pernell Whitaker, his entire career, you couldn't stop Pernell. Nobody could stop Pernell. If Pernell want to get stopped, well then, yeah. But other than that, he's not going to get stopped. There are certain guys in boxing who've been trained, they've been schooled a certain way, so that you're not going to stop them. You're just not going to knock them out. It's not happening. Not happening. All right, they're too well schooled in defense. That's what they do. Even when they're doing their offense, they're defensively responsible. You're not going to knock them out. And so I can give you a little hint, a little clue as to how Floyd would handle, say, for instance, a Leonard or a Hearns. Leonard got more layers to him. He's got more. He, at least at that weight class at the time, Leonard had a lot more layers to him. So Leonard could make adjustments better than Thomas Hearns. Thomas Hearns was a power puncher, great right hand, but he basically was basic. He had basic fundamentals. So his thing was, He keep you off with a jab. If you come into the inside, catch you with either the left uppercut or the left hook. That's his protection to come on the inside. But once you get on the inside, he got nothing else for you. He clinch up. That's it. Okay? He didn't have no inside game when he was at welterweight. Now, it changed once he got to super middleweight. But as of welterweight, he didn't have nothing else. So if Floyd knows that, which he probably would, this guy have a basic 1-2. He got his nice sharp left hook, and he may have a left uppercut. You know, Floyd know how to handle that. Those are the only punches he has to look out for. So when he slips the punch, or when he weaves from the punch, or he decides to bob and weave if he wants to get to the inside. If you go and study Jeff Mayweather, you'll understand what Floyd incorporates to do that. Because Jeff Mayweather was a fighter who was able to get under fighters and work their body. All right? And Floyd, if you look at Floyd versus Tony Pep had about similar dimensions to Hearns. Not really care. He also worked off the jab, obviously. He wasn't as fast as Hearns, he wasn't quick, wasn't as explosive as Hearns, he didn't have the power as Hearns. But what's the important thing to understand is how Floyd was maneuvering past him. And like I said, if Hearns had faced an era prior, that would have given me a good idea if he could have handled a Pacquiao, a Mayweather, Canelo, because these guys will take away your jab from you. It will nullify your jab. And Hearns without a jab is a defenseless guy. He got nothing. Because he depends on his jab for defense. Floyd, Pacquiao, well, no, not Pacquiao. Pacquiao kind of. Because Pacquiao has a huge two-guard that he puts up to protect his body and his head. And then he kind of moves with the punches, okay? But Floyd got a hell of a lot more dimension to that because he goes straight into the shoulder roll defense in what was called a lean, like a Tau Pisa pyramid. It's a lean pyramid with his lead foot on the outside. You got to get around his lead foot to land any punch on him. So if Hearns, for instance, threw a jab and Floyd rolled that jab, and Hearns was a guy, he threw the jab, he never had perfect balance. He'd be falling over when he's throwing his jab. So when Hearns falls into Floyd, fucking curtains, man. Curtains. Because that's what Floyd do. He counterpunch. And he fall into Canelo. You saw what happened with Iron Barkley, how Iron Barkley two-pieced him. It's because he leaned in to Iron Barkley to throw the shot. So after he threw the jab, he leaned in. Because he don't have perfect balance. He don't stay in perfect balance. He tried to throw a lot of power. So he reaches with his shots. You can't do that shit against Floyd. You can't do that shit against Canelo. You're going to get two-pieced up. He's going to get the Iron Barkley treatment. And if it ain't enough, that's what Canelo do. He do the inside. So Canelo be destroying that body. Okay. Take out the body from under him. He got nothing. The tree don't have no stump, no tree, no trunk. Tree going down. Simple. Same thing Floyd would do. Floyd's good at body punching. That's what he do. He can't hit you in the head. He damages his hands. You really rip the punch to the body. And recently, I think he sparred a super middleweight. So now, Hearns especially, Floyd would have an easier job with than Sugar and Leonard. Sugar and Leonard got a lot more layers. Leonard's, but the thing with Leonard, he tried to engage too much, and that means he would get counterpunched a lot more. Floyd's very sharp on the counterpunch, right? And I do think that Floyd would walk to him and walk him down at certain points, and Leonard would engage him and let him come to him. I think Leonard would be able to set some traps in that process. But Leonard's going to realize how tough Floyd is, because you can hit Floyd with a two-piece, and Floyd will still be standing in front of you if he wants to, because Floyd, he spars super middleweights, super welterweights, right? He might spar a light welterweight. He might spar one of them guys for speed, or or lightweight for speed. So the different reasons that spar different people. So if you wanted somebody like Leonard, probably bring in Oscar De La Hoya or somebody like that, and get some work. Because he brings in former world champions, even present world champions. He would bring in to spar with him. He even had Carlos Ballimer spar with him for Cotto. He also brings in that same guy. Forgot what his name is. The super middleweight to spar for Cotto. You know. So the convention by most people is that, you know, he would lose to Hearns and stuff. That's bullshit, man. He ain't losing to Hearns. Hearns would have a puncher's chance to hit Floyd. What does a puncher's chance mean? It don't mean shit. Mosley hit him. Oscar hit him. Castillo hit him. Corley hit him. Maidana hit him. Canelo hit him. They didn't even drop him. Zab was the most successful. He dropped him. At least he made his hand touch the canvas. I mean, he didn't drop him, but that's about it. And he took Zab's punches after that. When Zab hit him with a punch, he took it, tucked himself, slip under Zab, get under the punches. Because the idea is, let me explain to you. If a fighter starts to launch off a combination on you, you get below his punches. That's all Floyd did. He would tuck and dip, a la Pernell Whitaker style, and get under Zab's punches. That's all he did. Zab can't hit him. He could slide in, bump him with the shoulder, lock him up, reset. Smother his offense. All right? Regroup, take your time, keep your composure, get back to what you was doing. Pressure blows pipes, right? Baby Arizmendi says, this is intangible second account. I guess so. Baby Arizmendi says, Ayo, can you add the comments? Yeah, man, I'm now doing it. I'm sorry, I'm late on the draw. Baby Arizmendi says, can you read all the comments? Baby Arizmendi is laughing. Tangible Boxing says, not as high on Haney as others. He doesn't set up his offense. Okay, it's fair. Well, I can't say yet. I'm going to give him time to show us some more stuff. Tangible Boxing says, Lucas Brown is 50 times more skilled than Floyd Mayweather and Ward put together. Now you just trolling. Tangible Boxing News says, well, skills are means to an end, but someone fights and beats is now higher ranked fighters. Okay. Tangible Boxing says, there is no objective way to measure a fighter's skills. What are you talking about, man? And Tangible Boxing says, I think you need to do your homework on Lucas Brown. He's the best fighter of all time. Now you are starting to troll. He's going to KO Joseph Parker. Ah, man, just shut up. He's clowning. Tangible Boxing, think about it. Which taller fighter did Floyd Mayweather have to walk down? That was good. You're stupid. Tangible Boxing says Mayweather would lose to Leonard because of two things: size, and he's oversensitive to feints. Oh my God. You guys clown around too much, man. I'm being serious. Yeah, but that's funny, man. That was funny. Yeah, on a regular note, it's really cool to talk about also in boxing news. How Anthony Joshua decided to step out and speak about the George Floyd issue and stand in solidarity, whether people think that's good or not. I see a lot of fighters contributing to this situation, and it's all about turning a negative into a positive. And so I hope that that situation will be addressed, justice will be served, But I think that the way to address that issue, to be quite frank, uh, is to put pressure on law enforcement to get the right prosecution for this case. I don't think that looting and destroying property is the way to go. I think all efforts and energies should be galvanized into organizing to make sure that these officers get prosecuted to the full extent of the law for this case, bearing all the facts of the case. So that's, I think, what's essential right now. But it's nice to see celebrities, black celebrities, donating money to the family and covering the funeral expenses and so on. Intangible Boxing says, yes, I went to a protest. All right, man. More power to you, brother. I think this is unacceptable. I think the world's seeing it now for what it is. Very, very ugly. And again, not all cops are like this, but the system is such that negative cops that want to abuse the system and abuse the authority can do it, and they're being very brazen and bold about it. And I do not know if this is something to bring a deflection to the corona issue, but definitely I do believe that these guys need to be brought to justice to the full extent of the law. And that's all I got to say about that. And Tandem Boxing says, what do you think about the heavyweight prospects, Guido Vianello and Jared Anderson? I haven't really looked at those guys yet. I don't know who they are. I haven't been able to check out your channel either because I've been doing a whole bunch of other things. That's why you guys haven't seen me making any videos. But I would love to look into that for sure, definitely. You know, they fought Shukur's undercard. I didn't get it. Like I said, I only saw the highlights of Shukur versus his opponent. I don't even know who his opponent is. Some guy began to see. But I was impressed by his performance, even though the guy I didn't know. You know, it's a good training ground for him to practice some of the other aspects of the game of boxing, you know, the infighting and stuff. So I'm happy for him. And then he's getting the box, period, you know. So I'm glad for Top Rank, and I gladly took the step forward to do that. Hrgovic? Oh, we've been hearing about Hrgovic for the longest while, since the amateurs and the pros. He's a good fighter, man. Very good fighter. Been beating some ass of late. Good fighter. Good fighter. Looking forward to seeing more of him and seeing him really get his shot at a title and really, you know, again, executing, you know, and getting the championship that he deserves to get. Hopefully he gets it this time. Yeah, they got some really good Eastern European fighters. Let me just say that. You know, Costa's son, he's going to be facing, help me out here. He's supposed to be facing somebody, I think it's Jeff Horn. Isn't that right? Jeff Horn's supposed to face Tim Tszyu. So that's a good fight. I hope that Tim Tszyu prevails. I know he's got good training, good background, good pedigree. His father helped him train him and was in the Mayweather boxing gym not too long ago. Getting some good training again, good coaching. So I would love to see Tim Tszyu against Jeff Horn. Absolutely, 100%. You know, he lives in Australia, so that's why they're going to have to fight in Australia. So that'd be good. As to boxing, I think, I think by around August, we should have an audience there. We should have, you know, the place being filled up with people. By August, I think. You know, I don't wear masks. I don't wear a mask for this coronavirus. I never wear a mask. It's unhealthy. And the thing about it is, unless you're coughing or something, the mask serves a purpose. It doesn't protect you from the virus otherwise. Even though people say it does, it don't. So I don't really wear masks. I'm not a proponent of masks. Let's just put it that way. I think that masks come in handy if you had thick particulates in the atmosphere. But a virus can go into your eyes. So what, you're gonna have to wear a whole you know what I'm saying? It go in your eyes and your ears. If your body immune system is down, it don't matter. You're gonna get the virus. You gotta boost your immune system. I'm feeling very sleepy right now. I can tell. That's why I'm doing all this. But one more thing I want to tell you guys before I go. This channel will be, hopefully, once I get my next phone working. I was trying to get my next phone working, but it didn't work out. I got some other appliances in the house I'm trying to get working because they come out on me. But as soon as I can get the next phone working, I'm going to start doing call-ins. You're going to have to do it via Skype. I don't know what you call my phone or the other phone. You know, you could do it, but it'll be overseas calls for a lot of you guys. I don't need you guys to have money for that. Unless you guys want to go through WhatsApp. So what you all guys could do is hook me up on WhatsApp. The guys who want to hook me up on WhatsApp, and we could go through WhatsApp where you can ask your questions. And I'll just play the stuff from WhatsApp so you can hear it on the phone. It's another way of doing it. There's also Skype, but not Skype, but Zoom. But my laptop can't host Zoom right now. So it is what it is. It's an old laptop. Yeah, guys, if you guys want to donate to my channel, I'm always open to it. Take any and every amount of donations. So that's all I got for now. There's a lot more I want to say, but I'm going to say that some other time. But yeah, if you guys don't have no more questions, I'm not seeing the questions come up, so I don't know if you guys are chatting away. Nope, y'all are not. And it's 11:20 something. So I'm going to shut it down right here. I hope you guys had a good day, a good week, even in spite of the fact that COVID-19 thing's going on. Now, a lot of people. All right. So yeah, I'm out. Peace. Catch you guys later.